electromagnetic induction. There are many methods or techniques used to generate electricity. For example, a dry cell converts chemical energy into electric. A solar cell converts radiant energy into electric energy, and a wind turbine converts wind energy into electric energy. One method used to generate electricity is electromagnetic induction. يعني مثل ما قلت لكم نحن the object is to generate electricity. We need a source of energy. So electromagnetic induction is converting magnetism to electricity or generating electricity from magnetism. هلا أول شغلة المagnetic flux. Magnetic flux is defined as NB as cosine theta. To determine the magnetic flux we need N اللي هي number of turns of the coil, B intensity of the magnetic field, S area, وثeta angle between B and N. B magnetic field, N normal vector to this area or to this coil, and N is determined by applying the right hand rule. يعني لطلع المagnetic flux we need N B S and theta, and the SI unit of phi اللي هي المagnetic flux Weber. هلا هيدي السلايد هي اساس الدرس. ماشي. Faraday discovered that in order to create E اللي هي induced EMF we must change phi with respect to time. مثل ما عم بتشوفوا بكل الأسئلة في explain the existence of E. if phi changes أكيد with respect to time, if phi changes, the change in phi gives rise to an induced EMF E. And if the circuit is closed رح يصير في عندي I اللي هو induced current, and this induced current creates an induced magnetic field BI. وكمان كيف في يغير phi؟ في عنا ثلاثة methods. يا if B changes أو S changes أو theta changes. فهيدا هو الدرس. قلنا in order to create E بدي غير الفاي. فكل مرة بيقول لي explain the existence of induced current بدي اقول له بدي حدد اول شيء شو عم يتغير بالفاي. ارجع قول انه هيدا الشيء عم يتغير. ارجع الفاي عم تتغير. فاي عم تتغير يعني عندي ايه؟ في عندي ايه يعني عندي اي، وفي عندي تاني رول اللي هي فاراداي لانزز لو اللي هي E equals to negative d phi by dt. ال E induced EMF. This minus sign is for lens. We oppose the variation of the change in flux, and d phi by dt represents the change in flux with respect to time. Mathematically it's equal to the derivative of flux with respect to time. فعنا two rules أساسيات بالدرس هي الفاي n بي اس كوساين ثيتا و E equal minus d phi by dt. هلا هودي الفور cases اللي ممكن يجوا. document 1 a magnet is moved towards a coil. فهون عندنا change in B. هون a magnetic field increases with time. فهاد two cases هن change in B. This case a rod is moved by a force F to the right, وآخر وحدة a coil is rotating with an angular frequency omega. هلا بكل الكيسز إذا قال لي explain the existence of E في عنا change in flux، فبدك تقول لي إنه phi changes يعني عندي E. and since the circuit is closed بكل الحالات عنا induced current وبكل الحالات عنا induced magnetic field BI. فهيها بأول two cases عنا change in B، بدوكيمنت 3 عنا change in S، بدوكيمنت 4 عنا change in theta. فعنا change in phi it leads or it generate رح يصير في عنا generation of E يعني في I يعني في B induced. هلا كيف بيشتغل lenses law؟ إذا جبت لكم سؤال ماجنت عم قربه وعم بعده من solenoid بتشتغلوا by attraction or repulsion. بقرب attraction ببعد repulsion. هون this magnet approaches the coil and the coil will repel this magnet. يعني هاي بتصير N و S فالبي induced from S to N and we apply the right hand rule. هلا ببعث لكم فيديو لإلها كيف بعمل right hand rule بين البي induced والI. تاني رسمة a rectangle a square coil is placed in a magnetic field directed into the page X. هلا لأنه البي عم بيزيد in order to oppose or minimize the change of B we create this coil will create an induced magnetic field outward opposite لإله. كمان هلا ببعث لكم فيديو right hand rule. B induced بيعمل right hand rule بعمل current. فبهيدي الحالة إذا B عم بيزيد البي will be induced opposite. إذا البي كان عم بيقل البي induced will be induced same. البي will be induced same. ثالث figure this rod هون عندنا change in area لأنه for example if this rod was at this position and a force is applied هيدي بتكون الاريا. بس صارت الرد هون صارت هيدي الاريا. فعندنا هون change in S. هون بيشتغل يا opposition Laplace's force opposite to the applied force and since S increases the system tries to minimize the increase in flux by creating an induced magnetic field opposite to B. Therefore, B induced is out of the page. And in this case, when we rotate this coil, the angle between N and B varies with respect to time. In general, change in flux creates E if the circuit is closed, I, and I creates B induced. يعطيكم العافية.